Folks, welcome back to the fourth episode of the Price Memory Podcast with me, Future Trunks, here to let you know that AI is going to take over the world and Dr. Giro's bad and all that sort of stuff. And Kai Oak Bacon, Knockout Cards and Collectibles. What's been going on with you? How are you doing?
Yeah, damn, Future Trunks was very right. The robots are taking over the world, and is he going to come back and stop them or not?
I don't know. Future Trunks, highly underrated character, though. I will say that.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Just much of the same. Working, not working, speculating, looking for opportunities everywhere. Just can't seem to find any, but par for the course, really. What about yourself?
Are you having a hard time finding opportunities right now?
Yeah, it is. How was your 4th of July and your week? Your 2 weeks since we last talked?
Yeah, I had to wear the obligatory 4th of July vintage dad shirt, even though it is a couple days after. It was good, though. We went to a baseball game, which is nice because it's like, super American, crappy food, and you still get to see fireworks without having to worry about people setting your yard on fire. So that's nice.
No Luffy promo, though?
No Luffy promo at this baseball game. Unfortunately, I was pretty bummed, but no, it was good for sure. At one piece though, like that new Luffy promo that came out, I'm interested to see how it performs. I aped a bunch of those to PSA. The one thing I will say though, and I don't know if I'm being like too strict with the pre-grading, because the cards are metal. There's like these little like. Any surface imperfection shows up a ton because it shines. You know what I mean? Like any little like ding or like imperfection in the like it immediately like draws your eye to it. Whereas like if it was just on like a Pokemon card or whatever, or just like a regular One Piece card, you still might be able to get away with it because you'd have to like see it perfectly under the right light. So I don't know if they're going to count those little issues as factory and just 10 them anyways. But I was pretty strict. Out of 100, I think I sent like maybe 40 to PSA. I sent some to Fanatics, and then the rest I'm just like selling raw. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it'll do in the future. It does have Homeboy's signature on it, and from what I understand, the only other One Piece card that has Oda's signature on it is like some stupid expensive like tournament promo or something like that.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think about that card?
Well, you showed me, and I just straight out copied you and went and spent a bunch of money on them. Now they've halved, so I probably have to buy more again. But Shug messaged me this morning and said that he got his in. Well, he's in Japan, so he probably just walked down the street and grabbed them. But he said they're like absolute fingerprint magnets because they are metal and so shiny and stuff like that. So I guess be careful when handling them and things like that. But yeah, So you sent them all at 80, and you just kind of see what the price comes back as?
Yeah. I mean. I do have more. I've been like averaging down as the price came down, but the first stack of 100, I just like paid up a little bit because I like was gonna get them here quickly. So that like sort of time edge, I guess, sort of like was worth it to me. But I think the other ones I'll probably like sit on and wait till PSA like reopens at bulk and see how they like sell through at 80. And if it seems like a card that people really like and has good sell-through rate, then maybe I'll grade more. If not, then I'll just like sit on them or sell them raw or something like that. But One Piece has been doing pretty good, honestly. Like it's kind of ramping back up. Liquidity is like really good on it. The numbers, I honestly thought I was going to get wrecked on that One Piece promo play I made, and it's been selling through like pretty good, which is weird because like my brain is still stuck in like 2024, 2023, where it's like, dude, this stuff is so easy to grade. Like everybody's probably doing this. They all 10, blah, blah, blah. But I think if you stick to the best characters, and especially with the Japanese, they have like exclusive promos that the arts don't appear in English. So that can kind of like help you out a little bit too. But I don't know, man. I think One Piece is here to stay. I wish DBZ was getting as much love as One Piece because I enjoy it more, but I like One Piece too, so it's cool to kind of see it get its day in the sunlight, I guess.
Well, the first thing I checked on Instagram this morning was I saw that Ern posted a reel where he got his grades for his first partner promos, like the Kanto sets. And I actually didn't do that. I still got about 300 sealed packs, and I decided not to open them and send to PSA before they close down. And I don't know why I did that. I should have just sent them, because they're still like a $1,500 set, $1,400 set of the PSA 10s, just the 3. And I mean, there's so many stupid obvious plays right now, and it's crazy. You have to really pick and choose what you have to, and you also don't have to pick and choose what you do, because you can kind of just do whatever you want. And it's crazy that it's still just continuing on, but that's where we are. Even at 80, like those are like a 5x, which is just crazy.
Yeah, 80 it's the most I've personally ever spent on grading. I don't tend to do a lot of stuff where I send it like crazy higher tiers. Like, I'm just patient. I'd rather do stuff in mass, kind of like you, where you just like grab 100 promos, 500 promos, and just be patient and send them in bulk and sell them for whatever the profit is when they come back. I don't really like having a lot of the value of the card tied up in grading. Yeah. But with the way the market is, and like it being like an exclusive Japanese promo and all that sort of stuff, and I think it'll do okay. But I'm also like not going to, like, some of these other promos, I'm sort of like slow rolling, and like every time one sells, I'll like bump the price, and see how far I can kind of get with it. That card is not something that I'm gonna like slow roll. Like, I'm gonna dump all the ones that I send at 80 and just sort of like take my profit. And then if it's still play in the future, cool. But like, I don't want to like get cute with that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like as comfortable having like $80 tied up in the value of a card, even if PSA is shut down right now. But you're talking about all this opportunity. Your name is lacking opportunities, and all your favorite Pokemon YouTubers are telling you it's a summer slowdown right now. So okay, so let me kind of frame this, and then I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. So the summer slowdown is cap. I think it's just another one of those things that people say because they're trying to get clicks. It's like the time of year. It's like, okay, well, it's boring to get on YouTube and say the same stuff over and over. So like, we have to say the summer slowdown because like negativity, drama, oh no, the market's crashing, like that's evergreen, always going to get clicks. I made a video a long time ago. I think it was like right when we got back from Japan, and people were talking about how like, the market's crashing, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. I'm not making sales. And I was like, the video was like, the market's not the problem, you are. And I was thinking about the summer slowdown because it's not constructive to get on here and be like, you guys are wrong, there's no summer slowdown. And I'm pretty sure like both of our businesses are hitting like all-time highs, like record months every month after month after month after month, regardless of the time of the year. But it's not constructive to just get on here and be like, get good, you guys suck. If you're experiencing a summer slowdown, like, you're the problem. And so I think like the best way that I can frame it, because I was thinking about it, is most of the people saying that like there is a summer slowdown happening, or the people that are feeling that, it's because their business they have like tunnel vision in their business. Like, they have one model and that's it. And that model is underperforming right now. And so they're extrapolating that out onto the rest of the market. If your model, like Alex, for instance, he does like rip and ships and modern sealed investing. Modern sealed investing is kind of like, slow and steady right now. Nothing's going up 50% week over week like it was, maybe a month or two ago. And I don't know how rip and ship numbers are. But if those are slowing down, it's like, that is not indicative of the entire market. Right. And so I see a lot of these businesses and a lot of these people making videos about the summer slowdown, and it's because they have one model. They do one thing. And and this is going to kind of go into some of the other topics that we talk about later tonight, but if your business is one thing, if you have one model, and it's like ultra reliant on like Mercury being in retrograde and all these like, stars aligning perfectly, like, the market is not the problem. The time of year is not the problem. You are. Like, you need to have another model so that you're not worried like, oh, okay, my modern sealed investments like aren't appreciating crazy, but like this part of my business is like scaling really well, or like I'm seeing opportunity here and here. And so I really think people just kind of like need that tough love, because like they're saying it and they're extrapolating it out like it's fact, but it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, are you selling on eBay? Like, are you vending at shows? Are you grading cards? Are you selling sealed product? Are you like, no, I'm doing one thing. Like, I sell on my website. It's like, okay, so what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And it's obviously if you're in that one space. So right now, the thing we're seeing sort of drop the most over the last probably month is modern chase cards in 10 and raw and stuff like that. A lot of those, I think you sort of said some stuff you purchased already in 10 has retraced 20, 30, 40%, whatever. And that's very normal after a 10, no,
5,000% rip.
Yeah. A 200%, 300% rip on so much of this stuff. Like a 30, 40% drawback not only is like normal, but like should be expected. If you weren't expecting a 30, 40% correction on a lot of this stuff that's been ripping now for 24 months, like I think that's a lot of part of the learning curve. Like you might just be in that euphoria where you think this is just normal and it's going to get there and then stay there. Like I think a lot of seasoned people have been expecting, and myself included, like I've been expecting a downturn for 18 months now. I've been waiting for this 30% correction for 18 months, and it's only just come now, and that's after like another 2 or 3x on a lot of stuff. So I agree, and I think like that's what I'm doing. Like my original business, say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was buy card, grade card, and then sell it on eBay. I didn't do, I did live streaming a long time ago, but that was very like on Facebook and stuff like that. But it wasn't really a scalable model because it was just hard to do. But I was buy card, grade card, and that was really it. I feel like at the moment because I have been sort of waiting and expecting. I actually hadn't realized a lot of stuff had dropped. Like I'm so far removed from, I guess, looking at the modern chase card market. Like I knew a lot of it was ripping. When you said you were down 30%, I was actually a bit surprised. I went, oh, like I wasn't like super aware that had happened, but it makes sense. I guess it's like opening up, as you said, opening up other channels of revenue in your business and doing that. So that's what I'm really working on at the moment. Like I think I've talked the last few where I'm really trying to build out this secondary store because I think the raw market for cheap singles is a completely different set of buyers. Like a modern chase card 10 dropping 30% has almost no correlation with the people collecting binders of singles and stuff like that. So really just trying to build extra revenue streams. And if one market, like one sort of facet slows down, you've got other opportunities you can kind of weave between. I think that's what at least I've always been really good at is when something happens and I feel like a sort of change or a slowdown, like I just jump over to doing something else. Like I mentioned, I made that video game play with the Crash Bandicoots a couple of weeks ago. Like I didn't really want to deploy extra money into Pokemon. So I said, okay, I'm just going to deploy this amount of money into this. It's a different space. The video game market's actually like on the rise again with everything going on. And it was just a good opportunity to put money somewhere else. But yeah, I guess like we do this like buying and grading. I'm not grading as much at PSA now. It's closed. I sent all my subs off. I think I got 2,500, 3,000 cards at PSA. So that's working in the background. That's happened. That's done. Now I'm just buying cheaper cards and then grading with other companies. And we do the live streaming. We do the eBay. Got the raw eBay. I'm still kind of dabbling in video games and that market and stuff like that. So it really is. I don't do like vending or I don't have a website. I don't have stuff like that. Like I am relying on eBay for 3 sources of that revenue. But yeah, it's just opening up other opportunities and looking at other things when, if I was only doing modern 10s, you would tunnel vision on that slowdown there and then assume that is broadly across everything. And when obviously that's not the case. So
yeah, I did fly a little too close to the sun with some of the stuff I bought. I mean, it was mainly like the Mega Dream stuff. I just got like a little too spicy with it, and some of that stuff corrected. I don't know. We'll see. Like on the Gengar specifically, I could see that card like rebounding. I'm not entirely sure. It might just like stay down or trickle like slowly down. The yen has also been like eating absolute doo-doo against the US dollar for like the past like week or two. But what tends to happen, like so reprints have been hitting as well for like a lot, like the last like 4 or 5 sets in Japanese. So like for people that like follow my price list and stuff like that, like prices have been coming down. Like Abyss Eye and some of these other sets are like much more affordable sort of entry points now, which is nice. But like Mega Dream in specific was like below $100 on my price list for like a day or two, and then immediately bounced back up. And the yen is still like having a tough time getting off the mat. So I don't know that like the bottom is in permanently, but I went when I see things like that, I'm like, okay, like, maybe this is sort of like a little bit of a turning point here. Ascended Heroes has like really good, like the Mega Era in general in English has like really good print quality. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of these premiums that people were paying out the gate were just like stupid. And like, I mean, for the past 3 episodes, I've been screaming that like people are spending all this money on modern. And it's funny because like 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, like people are spending money on modern because like that's where the demand is. And I still believe that. But the more and more that I see these guys with money get into the hobby and see that they're interested in dust and see that like vintage and niche stuff is actually holding importance to the people with like real money. The people with real money are like, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000. But these markets are so small and the market caps are so much smaller than something like Ascended Heroes Pikachu that like you can really make a big dent if you pick correctly. So I look at like for investment purposes, like I look at people spending money on a lot of these slabs and I'm just like, like for business, yeah, like that's what you should be doing. You should be buying modern stuff, grading it, flipping it, like the most popular stuff. Yeah, you should not be like sitting on Facebook Marketplace for 24 hours a day looking for a legendary collection, binder collection or something like that's not going to happen. That's not a scalable business. But as far as like long-term holds go and stuff like that, but again, like I look at stuff like the Gengar. I mean, I think back to the Giratina alt art that got pretty cheap in Japanese and then it like tripled off the bottom. And I think the Gengar is like one of those cards, like it looks really nice in hand. I don't know. Maybe it's copium. We'll see.
Are you talking the SAR or the MA?
Well, I do like both, but like the SAR specifically, I think it's a really nice card. I think it'll do well. I could see it like popping back up to like $1,000, $1,200, something like that. But we'll see. I mean, English is going to have to move for Japanese to really move as well. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, I mean, as far as you do so many different things. Like you grade promos, you grade video games, you do the streaming, you do pack rips. Like you have, and even when you like go into buying products, right? Like a lot of the time, like a lot of the stuff that you bought recently, you've been offered it as like sealed product, and you're like, just break it down. Like I just want the contents, and you have multiple ways to get out of the contents. And so because of that, like because you're like fluid and you have like these different abilities to like different liquidity channels, like different ways to get out of like, okay, well, this part of the product I'm going to do this with, these packs I'm going to do this with. There is no summer slowdown. So like the summer slowdown is like not you, but like the proverbial you, like you are the problem, right? Like if your business is not growing right now and the biggest bull market Pokemon has ever had, it's not because people are going to concerts or like whatever people say on YouTube. It's because like you're only doing one thing and you're so hyper focused on that. And like, you should be looking at other things. And I think too, like when people think about business models and like different ways to make money, if you front load a lot of like the kind of like analysis as far as like, okay, is this something that I can scale? Is this something that I could do like 500 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times? And if the answer is no, then like, don't do it. And then you won't end up in a position to where you have to like scramble to pivot your business. You know what I mean? Like I've never had to scramble to like pivot my business to like a different model because I don't do models that like can't be scaled. And sometimes you can like pull less of a lever, like when like wholesale was taken off and the people I was buying for and whatnot, like that took a lot of my time. So like I kind of let eBay like slow down a little bit, but I didn't stop doing eBay, and eBay isn't something that you ever like have to stop. And now like I have Ray streaming on there, and Green Shiz doing like the sealed consignments and stuff like that, and we have contracted rates and all that sort of stuff. So it's like if you do the work up front of picking models that don't need to be pivoted out of, that you're not like so reliant on like XYZ happening, I don't know, like it provides you a lot of insulation. So I see a lot of these guys and like, look, like they're smart, they run successful businesses, but they do one thing. So it's like it's hard for me to place too much stock in them saying like, anybody telling you the market isn't slowing down is lying to you. It's like, no, you just only do one thing. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. If you're feeling that in your business, like I definitely would implore you to look at like other options, other avenues.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I said, if you are actually feeling like it's slowing down, it's a good opportunity then, because that means that your sales are dropping or whatever like that. It's a good opportunity for you to go and learn something new. And that's kind of when I guess both of us did that. after the COVID boom, like when I noticed that sales are slowing, that's when I grinded for like 12, 18 months at that point. And then as it started slowing down, I was like, okay, let's take a breather from that. That was crazy. Let's learn something new. That's when, kind of going into learning about Dragon Ball and vintage Japanese Dragon Ball, and learning about, back then, even learning about video games and learning about new things. It's a good opportunity if you do feel like that your current business model is slowing to branch out. Like even back then, I made a second eBay. I started uploading singles to a second eBay. I started doing all these sorts of things and just, learning a new skill, just starting a new business model, because you might see it picks up. Like, again, like we're doing about $200 a day now on this new store that's just bulk, like genuinely bulk. And yes, like we're up to 9,000 listings now in 4 weeks. But like, and I know that's a lot, but that's someone doing that for 15 hours a week. That's pretty good income for it's not I'm paying someone to do it, so it's not like super positive cash flow for me at the moment. But we're 4 weeks in. Give it another 2-3 months when we're up to 30,000-40,000 listings, and I'm going to have another $300-$500 dollar a day, hopefully, revenue stream that has been built out, that I think will weather almost any market changes. Like, people are going to be interested in buying random Pokemon singles all the time, I think.
Well, you're going to hit like an inflection point too with that business model, to where even if you're still paying somebody, you're going to have so many cards listed that the amount of revenue that you're going to be generating daily is going to, you're still going to be making profit. Plus it's bulk. You're in this stuff for nothing. You've been sitting on it forever. And then when you do get to the point that they've listed 99% of your stuff and you don't need to pay them full time anymore, then you're just printing money. I mean, even $200 a day, that's almost 75 racks a year on garbage. That's a pretty good income. You know what I mean? That's not bad. So, and then you said, it's going to weather. So it goes, the bear market shows up, and then you have this massive singles eBay built out. People don't stop buying singles in a bear market. I mean, people don't stop buying period in a bear market, but if you have this massive, the algorithm favors you, all that sort of stuff, good feedback, all that, and you have all these listings, that's just free passive money. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you're doing that for sure.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do it, and it's only really since the last sort of 6 months where we turned this into a company, we started getting employees. It's I can pay someone to do this, and it's all right, let's try it. Let's rock it. I'm willing to, I think it's pretty low risk. We're willing to risk that capital that I put into that, which is just paying employees and stuff like that. I've actually started sourcing more. I just spent a couple grand on sourcing massive bulk WotC lots from Japan, and I think that'll do well. But yeah, it's just another avenue we're exploring. But are you looking at starting? I know you've probably not. I know you've already got so many things going on. Is there anything in your view that you want to try and get on top of, or is it just too hard at the moment?
I'm working on the website right now. I'm almost done with it. I'm trying to have that live by the end of the week. We're just working out a few last minute things for mainly right now, for functionality for international buyers, because I have to send them custom quotes, because they're not subject to tariffs, and then shipping is different depending on what country they're in. So rather than them just ordering off the price list, I am working a functionality into the website where they can tell me what they want, and then I can send them a quote so that they know what to pay. But once the website's done, that'll free up a decent amount of my time. I want to make some content and start funneling people. I legit think that I think the wholesale has a lot of room to run as far as scalability goes. I just think it's visibility. No one knows who I am unless someone's told you about me or whatever. I just don't have a massive social media following. So getting on YouTube and making videos more consistently, I think could, double the wholesale business easily if I really took it seriously and, made videos 2 to 3 times a week type thing. But there is something we're getting some opportunities with eBay. So I've been thinking about incorporating some stuff on the back end. I just I don't personally want to do more work. I'm maxed out. I'm burnt out. I don't want to do any more work. I'd rather hire people to do stuff. The one thing I will say though is like when we got rates with Fanatics, I'm sending like 1,000 cards a month to Fanatics to sort of like keep the rates and stuff like that. So, but that's like, I don't know, kind of like low lift. You know, you don't have to do a lot of the work. And I'm using Pika Drew. Shouts out Drew, Gem Inspector. I don't touch the cards. He pre-grades them. I order them. I have them sent to him. He pre-grades them. I pay him for his time. Like I pay him like an hourly wage to like open the packages and all that stuff. And then I pay him $1 per card. I don't touch anything. He sends them to Fanatics, and Fanatics pays me out. So, and again, back to the summer slowdown thing. Like Drew is a perfect example of like solve a problem, right?
Yes,
like people are grading in mass more than ever now, and people are buying graded cards, especially cheap graded cards, more than ever now because of these repacks and digital rips and all that sort of stuff. So if you're somebody like, think about like what your time is worth in this sort of market environment. $1 a card to have somebody that like knows what they're doing, look at your stuff. You don't have to interact with the widget at all. That's super plus EV. That's super. And honestly, like I'm surprised that he is not over inundated. Like I'm surprised that he's not doing 20 to 30,000 cards a month right now. And I think if people were smarter, and I think that if people knew that that was like sort of an option, because he doesn't really have like a massive social media presence either. I think if more people knew that that was an option, I think that they would be using him, and I think that he would be over inundated. But like, yeah, I mean, like if it's not like flipping cards or streaming or whatever, like solve a problem. You know what I mean? Create a business like that. Like he's literally taking zero capital risk and just printing relentless. So
and even if you're giving him 40% of your profits from that play, you're not doing anything. So who cares? Like it doesn't matter. Like it's crazy. Yeah. It's and they're the people that do really well. As someone who, yeah, as we were talking about, like you solve a problem for someone else, like done. You got a business. Like it wouldn't surprise me if that then scales into, I don't know what else Drew does, but like if that scaled into a full-time job forever, like with the way that the market's going.
I think and I mean like if $1 is like 40% of your profit margin, like I mean there's still money to be made if you're making like $2.50 a card, not touching anything. Like hey, at volume, like that's good money or whatever. But like if $1 is your profit margin, it's probably not like the best business in the world. But yeah, I think like I definitely enjoy working with him. Super easy to deal with, very plus EV. Hollow Hoarder says, what do you do with the rejects? I sell raw. I only order the same SKUs over and over and over again, so I don't have to make new listings on eBay. I just like put quantity listings up on eBay. I have stock photos for everything, and I just let stuff sell through. I have like enough positive feedback that like people trust that I'm not going to send them like a heavy play card or something like that. Like if it's near mint, it's near mint. Anything that's not near mint, even if it's like play, we auction it off. And if it's like really cooked and it's a cheap card, like if it has a dent in it or something like that, and it's like a $4 card, we just give them away to people for free. Like I just put them in orders, and they're plus EV. They get good feedback. People are happy. So yeah, overall, very, very plus EV on the math. I'm not sweating like, oh, 30% non-gradable or whatever. Like it's not that big of a deal. And honestly, a lot of the time, if you're buying the right stuff, you buy it on TCG Player for cheaper than you can sell it on eBay. You buy it on TCG Player for $12, you sell it on eBay for $15. So even after like fees and shipping, you're breaking even, sometimes even making money. So
I checked before, just because you mentioned it. The AUD, the Australian dollar to yen, has doubled since 2020. It's crazy. I don't know how the USD fares, but the value's doubled. I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, the AUD yen at the moment is an all-time high, which is crazy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I went into when I switched banks, I went into the bank, and they try to like sell you on everything. Like they want to like squeeze you for as much money as possible. But I went in there for some credit card stuff. But of course they had like the wealth management, and I'm like, like we're good, bro. Like I don't need it. Like I manage my own portfolio, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, well, do you have any exposure to international? And I'm like, brother, I have a lot of exposure. I have a heavy exposure to international markets. Like we're chilling. Like do not try to put me in some yen, product or whatever. Like I am big chill. And they asked me that at Wise too. They're like, do you ever hold yen? I'm like, hell no, I do not hold yen. Like shouts out to Japan, but like I don't know, man. Like it's really weird what they're doing with their currency. Okay, so we talked about this a while ago when we were first starting to make the podcast, but like don't miss the boom. So like we've both missed booms, and part of that was like lack of experience. We were brand new, all that sort of stuff. But I think both of us have done like a decent job at capitalizing on this like most previous boom. So like for people that are new or people that still feel like maybe they're missing out on this one, like what would you suggest? Is it a mindset thing? Is it an inventory thing? Is it a capital and liquidity thing? Like, what do you think is like most important to just position yourself? Because no one can predict when it's going to happen. But like, what do you think are the most important ways to position yourself or things to think about to capitalize on it when it does happen? I'm going to get to Mario. We'll be right back.
I think a lot of it is sort of positioning yourself in learning like the evergreen plays, and always having exposure to like the super liquid items and making sure that you built out like an inventory that doesn't really matter if you're booming or not. I think that's one thing I've learned going through the cycles is if you've got stuff that has potential to be super liquid, that's when it can really hurt you like between cycles. But if you've built out like if your entire eBay was literally only Pikachu promos, exclusive promos, popular Pokemon in stuff that you can repeat and churn and always buy quantity of and always sell quantity of, even if the margins are small, if you've got your inventory positioned really comfortable and then the market does change, upwards, like that's when you're going to be like absolutely laughing. And I think that's the main thing that coming into this boom that really propelled this, like my business. All I had was 15 SKUs of the same with deep quantity. And if you use your inventory correctly and slow sell with the market and adjust your prices as things change, like if you see it slowing down, you adjust the price down until you get a sale, and then maybe you can bump it back up again. But having good inventory and deep, and it doesn't even have to be expensive stuff. I know I say have 1,000 quantity of a promo, but you could have bought as early as 6 months ago. You could have bought unlimited quantity of a Pikachu promo for $3. Like that's the kind of thing that positioning your inventory. I think that's the best way to not miss the boom. To the point we're making, is just always being ready with good inventory and items that sell well regardless of the market. Like a Pikachu promo is still going to sell at market price if the market's tanking. Like it's still the right thing to have. And if you position yourself well with cheap entry points, it doesn't matter if the price you're selling on the way down. And I think that's another thing to get comfortable with is, which I'm still terrible at, is selling on the way down. That's something I still really struggle with. And still, I think I miss a lot of probably growth because I don't sell as well on the way down, but I guess it's changed now as I don't need to sell as much on the way down. Just with, as I said, like all the different revenue streams, I'm not like panicked to get this inventory out the door because I set this inventory up for the boom. Like, why would I dump it now that it's going down? Like, if I think I've positioned myself well for good inventory, then I'm just going to keep riding it for a bit longer, as long as you've got other revenue streams. If you're holding in a downturn, but that's all you've got no other capital, and you've only got these things, like you obviously need to change your strategy. But yeah, I just think inventory positioning is the most important thing, which I know might sound super obvious, but I think it's the key thing to weather any market, really, any sort of market swing.
When you say you have trouble selling on the way down, do you mean like mentally, like you don't want to sell something for less when you just sold it for more? Like
kind of
like that, like a profit thing, or only do you have the issue when you're like losing money?
No, definitely not a profit thing, and it's not a losing money. It's just, I think it's a mental thing of, for example, like what we're talking about before, like the Detective Pikachu promos. Like I'm in them for $60-$70 each, and they're still, I think, they up at the top of the boom. I was selling them at 800 Australian. I think my listing is now at like still 729, but I think there's other listings at 600 and 550 and things like that. But I'm not adjusting my price to keep like churning through them, and I really, like, realistically I should. That'd be good revenue to get in. I'm still profiting off each one regardless. Like, but I just think that's such a good. I don't really ever plan. I think it's much more difficult to replenish that stock and that quantity now. And if I did, I'd have to be rebuying them. The raws are what, $300, $350 now. It's like if I had to replenish it, the margin between the cost and the profit of what I could get now is much less, if that makes sense. I'm not like urgently need to sell them, even though they would be good profit, because I do want that inventory for the next, I'm genuinely looking for the next boom. Like it might be, I mean, with current boom anyway, it doesn't really matter, but like it might be if there's another market uptrend into like 1, 2, 3, 4 years, I still want to have that card, but I don't want to have to go back and rebuy it at a later date. So that's kind of like, I'm probably leaving profit on the table now, but that's how I want to position my business. I want to keep these SKUs in stock for the next few years because I still think, and it's because I believe in the inventory that I've got, and I think I've picked really good, SKUs of stuff to keep. But do you think that's stupid? I know you're probably better at not doing that.
I was going to ask you, like, is that a case-to-case base? Like with the Detective Pikachu, it's like, yeah, bro, like if they're down, like like I would place over an 80% chance, and that might be like super irrationally exuberant, but like I place over like an 80% chance that kind of card is going to appreciate and see like new all-time highs at some point. But is it a case-to-case basis with you where you're like, well, I'm not going to sell the Detective Pikachu at market price, but I will sell this Dialga promo or something at market? Like, is it a case-to-case basis, or are you just flat across the board like, I believe in this stuff, like I'm going to sell it for what I want to sell it for?
It's strictly on stuff that I have deep quantity of. If it's a one-off, I don't care as much. Like it doesn't hurt me to sell thing I've got one of and then see it double. That doesn't bother me nearly as much as, fire selling something I've got 60 of. And I know that it might not make sense, but yeah, it's strictly on stuff that I've in for cheap that I think is a really good longer term card that has shown that it's popular, like SM210 Birds, Detective Pikachu promo, any Pikachu promo, ETB promos, like any of those sorts of things that I know that I can't easily, I can't go now and I can't go and buy a quantity 500 of the Crown Zenith Lucario V-Star promo because no one's opening Crown Zenith ETBs because they're $400. But the promo in 10 is still, doing really well. Still profiting off each sale that I do make, which I'm not anymore because I think the price has dropped and I haven't adjusted my prices. But anything that's super popular and shows like good liquidity in any market are things that I'm not really actively trying to do. But I guess back to the point, how did you position yourself in the last sort of, and I know it's a bit difficult because your business model's changed a lot in the last 18 months. From when I guess you started wholesaling and stuff like that, but have you done anything different the last 18 to 24 months to sort of position yourself for this one? Or is it more just enacting on what we talk about, like buying the obvious plays and setting up your inventory, moving the junkier stuff and the less liquid stuff and really just focusing on good items priced well?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things I've actually like learned from you, because you do have more conviction in like slabs specifically. Before, like I really didn't care unless it was like dust or like a niche, promo card or whatever, where I was like, yeah, like this is going to take a little longer to sell, but it's going to be like a 500% gain or something like that because it's so dusty and niche. But like there are certain cards now, like one of them that comes to mind is the Japanese version of the Brilliant Stars Charizard alt art. I am not low list on that card, but like I don't want to be, because I'm like, that set is like way out of rotation in Japanese. It's Charizard, it's a full art, it's an alt art. I think Brilliant Stars will kind of have its day. Sword and Shield has been pretty stagnant for a while. I imagine it'll stair step up at some point, and I don't really feel the need. Like that could be stupid. Like I don't know, maybe I should be dumping that card. Like maybe it already hit its peak and it won't get anywhere near that for the next like 3 to 5 years. But there are certain cards where I'm like, yeah, I don't really see the need to be. Or like I have a couple Umbreon Vs from Eevee Heroes, the alt art, and I'm like, like that kind of stuff to me, I'm like, I'm not really gonna sell this for like break even or a loss, because I don't know, like I just kind of like believe in it, and I think that there's a decent enough chance that like it will go up in value to the price that I'm at. So
you position yourself where you don't need to sell it, and I think that's the main point.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it too, because like everything you literally used to be churn and burn. Like I hated having like extra raw in the house. Like I hated having like anything that didn't have a purpose. Like I just like wanted to get it out, and I was really good about like not over accumulating like extra stuff. But part of what's nice about like wholesale is like I'm turning money over, and I'm not taking any capital risk. Like I'm just turning money over and over and over. So like I can afford to take more capital risk in like speculations and stuff like that, because I don't have like, you know, a majority of my business capital tied up in like grading submissions or, you know, whatever. Like so I'm able to like invest more in sealed and sit on it and like not check the market every week and watch, you know, channels that do TCG player chart, because like I don't care. You know what I mean? I haven't sold any sealed product. I just like I keep buying. I've slowed down a little bit because, you know, we were gonna buy a house. But I like, you know, I'm at a point to where I'm like, I don't know, man, the 30th, like I'm probably gonna go crazy on and stuff like that. So it's just when I think about the downturn, I I do think it's like I don't want to be stuck with trash. Like I definitely don't want to be like the more specky stuff, like the a lot of the plays that wouldn't work 2 years ago, like the really cheap stuff that's like easily replaceable. That kind of stuff I'm most scared about holding. But like, do I think that like a lot of these other like cool rare slabs are going to get wrecked? Like probably not. I just think it's more of the stuff where like you just kind of buy a product for $20, open it and grade it, and it like always tends. And the only reason it's selling for a premium right now is because like the market we're in. Like that kind of stuff I don't want to get stuck with like a ton of going into a downturn. But like the nice thing about wholesale is like people were buying when Super Electric Breaker, which is like Surging Sparks in Japanese, when I was $40, people were buying it. Now it's like a, I don't know, $200 box or whatever. Most Japanese is between like $75 and $125 a box, and people are still buying it. Business is bigger than ever. So if prices go down, if prices get cut in half, and the cheapest Japanese box is $35 again, I'm gonna be doing just fine. You know what I mean? Like I'm still gonna be turning the money over. I'm still not gonna be taking any capital risk. People are still gonna need product, right? And more customers. I think people associate prices correcting with like a crash, and I think that that's like completely missing simple economics, like supply and demand curve. It's like, okay, so people are more stoked on Pokemon than they've ever been, but you're telling me if booster boxes go from 250 at release to 125, less people are going to want to open them? Like that is the dumbest. That's like that makes no sense to me. Like that does not square with me at all. I think that people would be very happy to get product. Now that might not be great for like the botters or the scalpers or the people that rely on like flipping modern sealed immediately into the secondary market to like make a majority of their business profit. But like, are people going to stop interfacing with the brand and opening product because it gets cut in half in price? Like, I think more people. I think rip and ships, like especially if packs went back to being $5 a pack, I think people would be they'd be stoked, because now you can open $20 for like one pack or something, right? Because people are buying Ascended Heroes for 14, 15 bucks, and then they have to make a margin on stream. So maybe they're selling for $18 to $20. But if packs go back to where you could buy like 4 packs for $20, like people would be stoked. You know what I mean? So like
because it has no effect on the rip and shippers business, because they're usually making like say a static 10% margin, whatever their cost price is, for an example. That makes no difference to their profit margin.
Yeah, and more people can open it, and less people are going to be hateful, because there's not going to be this like, oh, you're a scalper, you went and cleared out a shelf to get these packs. There's not going to be any of that, because like there's still going to be stuff on shelves and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I really think like in order to not, and honestly, like a lot of it too is like, and this is one thing I've learned from you, because you're like, I always send everything out for grading just so that I have it. And I think that that's actually really smart if you can afford it capital wise, because you never know when X card is going to boom or the whole market is going to boom. So like, it's that whole like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready kind of thing. Like if you have deep quantity of that card, if it makes sense now at the current market price and the liquidity and all that sort of stuff, like go deep. Like why not go like deep on it? And if it's not something that you feel comfortable going deep on, then like find something that you are. You know what I mean? But I think that that's really smart. Like if you're always staying engaged, you're always buying, you're always sending stuff off for grading and having things come back. Like I think you have to stay involved. Like you can't I mean, we've had friends that have like come in and out of the hobby depending on like how the hobby's doing, and they never stay around for long. And the people that have been here and stuck it out for 6 years at this point, like they're all seeing like these crazy gains and growing their businesses exponentially and stuff like that. And so you have to stay involved. Like you cannot be like, oh, the market's down, I'm gonna leave and come back. Unless you're swag daddy, right? So
yeah, exactly. Unless you're swag daddy, you can't do that. But and
Yeah.
like to that point, like anticipating like market shifts is, I sent a fair bit to PSA when it was $13.99. When it went up to $14.99, I sent double what I sent at $13.99. And then when it went to $18.99, and it started at $18.99 for what, a couple of months, I sent twice as much again at $89. Because I saw the shift in, it was getting, because at one point you were getting PSA subs back in 3 weeks at $13.99. And then when it slowed down at $14.99, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get more of my stuff in the queue. And then $18.99, I was like, all right, I'm sending everything, because it's probably going to go to 25, which it did. Like, having conviction, and that's the reason why I guess I didn't miss this boom to the point, was I was just positioning at the lowest cost basis I possibly could. Thank you, Mr. Walrus, the man.
Walrus is the man. Appreciate you for that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you too, and that's why like I'm buying stuff. Like I just buy 150 of those Gengar decks because I'm seeing, and like this is not like a genius play, but it's like that Haunter is like $1,000 or $1,200 in a PSA 10 in English. It's Haunter. It's a good looking card. It's a cool AR. I want to have a bunch of those ready to rock and roll to send to PSA when they open up at bulk again. You know what I mean? Like I'm playing the long game there, and I think, yeah, I don't know. I think having like good stuff available to send when they reopen, and not just sort of like being like, oh, I'm going to send a tag or CGC, or I'm just not buying cards that aren't worth sending at 80. Like, I don't know. Like and maybe it's because I went through that. Like I didn't grade before PSA shut down in the COVID boom. Like I hadn't graded any cards. Like I wasn't familiar with grading at all. I remember I pulled a few Shining Charizard VMAXs from Shining Fates, and I met up with this guy to sell them, and he was like, oh, I only want one, can I like look at them? And I was like, yeah, I mean they're all like pack fresh, like I'm not trying to scam you. And he's like, no, I just like want to see like which one's better for grading. And I was like, oh, like like what is that, and blah blah blah. And he kind of like told me what it was, but like I didn't have enough cards, I didn't know what I was doing, like I didn't get anything out. But as PSA was closed, I was like learning and being a sponge for information. And then when they reopened, I was there doing the lottery for the $50 and all that sort of stuff. But I was building up an inventory to send off when they reopen. And so like, I think because I've been through that, I'm willing to sort of like, yeah, I mean, are you doing the same? Like, are you putting, I know you're sending like a lot of stuff to Australian companies now, but like, are you building out a pile to send to PSA when they reopen at bulk again, or not really?
I'm not. So, and again, this goes to the point, like back when PSA was open, like I was actively sourcing bulk of the same SKU to send off. So I've got it in the queue now. As I said, I've got probably 3,000 cards at PSA. It might be 50 SKUs, might be 100 SKUs. Like it's a lot of the same thing, and I can't do that now. And I don't know how long it's going to be until PSA reopens, and I don't know what the market's going to be like when PSA reopens. So I'm not putting any, with few exceptions. Like I might have a couple of cards. It's like, oh, I will send this eventually, and it's a nothing burger. But like I'm not stacking stuff to send to PSA because as I said, I've got other business. Like that's one side of the business is PSA grading, bulk, tens. So I've just pivoted most of my focus to the streaming side now, because I can grade in Australia. I can grade for cheaper. I can grade for faster. I'm still getting premium on cards, and I can funnel the rest of my, capital and attention into these different opportunities. So I'm not stacking anything for PSA when it opens. I don't think you are going to be able to submit a card for under $30 and get it back for 18 months is kind of my estimation. Maybe longer, maybe 24 months. By the time the price comes down, you submit and get it back, I think it's probably going to be close to 18 months before that happens for under 30. Like, because I think they're going to open 50 for a while.
I'm way more optimistic. Did you see that thing that they put out though, where they said that they had less of a backlog than they expected?
Yeah, but I also think I still think as soon as they open, the price is low enough that by the time you can submit and get it back for a bulk. And I say, and the whole thing is like, I want to be in the card as low as possible. So even if it opened at $30, I'm not going to send a bunch of $20, $5 cards, things like that at that price. I would really want it to, and maybe that's more my point. I really would want to get it back to $15, $20 to make it make sense, because I just like being in the card as cheap as possible. I don't care how long it takes, but I would rather just send these to all these Australian companies and sell them locally here, because I'm still netting a better. I'm still netting a good, profit off the grading here, and then I can churn that much faster because everything's just so much faster. So now I'm putting no stock into holding stuff at PSA for now. I'm not sending to Fanatics at all at the moment. I'm just really focusing on the slabs for streams, so, which is still, I've seen a slowdown in people buying, because we do like a Pokemon repack as well, like a live physical one. It's still all like 100% transparent and yada yada. I've seen a slowdown in that over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, but I haven't seen a slowdown in demand for popular Pokemon in encapsulated overall. Yeah, or raws at all. I've actually been selling a lot more raws recently on stream, and yeah, it's just as popular as ever. Like there's just our streaming viewers are up. Oh yeah, go. Let's rock it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we're kind of like already touching on it, but like, so we talked about like how to not like miss the boom whenever it may happen, but like, what do you do like if a true bear market ever comes? Like, how do you operate in that environment? Like, how do you stay afloat? Because like people this time, like if we actually get a bear market like what 2023 was, so many people are going to get cooked. Like there are so many people operating on leverage, or their whole business model is like botting or scalping or whatever. Like, and there's just so many people with like zero business acumen. Like I think if there's like a flush out, it's going to be glorious. Like it is going to be a bloodbath. And I think ultimately that would be healthy. But yeah, like how do you not end up in the sea of red when the bear market does show up?
I think, and what I wish I did last bear market is, I wish when you really notice that your business is struggling, is just flushing out all the junk, flush out every single thing that your business holds that isn't a top tier like liquid item, because that's the stuff that really gets crushed if you go deep into a slowdown. That's pretty much the first thing I would do, and then I would really just monitor the market and continue business as usual, but really be a bit more strict about. At the moment, you don't have to be strict about anything. I could sell a 7 quality Pheasantipity in a slab, and you would still probably make $1. Like that's the kind of stuff that is not present in like a really illiquid market. So yeah, getting rid of the junk and really just, and I think that's the best time to stop and slow down and reposition and really have a think about what you should be doing as you're seeing what, because I think it really draws out what doesn't work when the market goes down. You'll really quickly see that this part of my inventory was a bad idea. I think that's when you like learn a lot, and I think that's when you can spend more time relearning, I guess, what you should be doing. I'm not sure if that is the question. I went a bit off track, but yeah, that's realistically like cleaning up everything, clean up your business, redo your policies, redo your logo, like spend time fixing like the core fundamentals of your business, and really like kind of doubling down on what is solid business. And I think going through an upcycle, if you've gone through an upcycle and a down cycle, I think you can learn enough to be able to capitalize on, not like even monetary, but fixing your business and learning what worked, what didn't work, and really honing. If you've got the conviction and you want to keep going. I know so many people that when that COVID bear market came, they're gone. Like they had distribution for like One Piece and Pokemon here, and they just gave it up. They just said, oh well, I can't make. And in hindsight, I should have bought people's distribution accounts and things like that. But yeah, they just packed it up and said, oh well, we're done. If they had literally all they'd done is hold their distribution, like millions, like it's crazy the amount of money that is was available to anyone who kind of stuck it through and learned and adapted and yeah. What about yourself? Like, I guess we talk about it a lot. We've been waiting for a bear market because we want to be able to. If you've got the conviction, we want to be able to buy more, because there are going to be people that it's their first time ever being. I had no idea about business, how to operate business, finances, money, investing, cycles, things like that. The only thing I knew was like I bought during the 2016 crypto boom and then managed to lose absolutely everything and more. And that taught me like a really good lesson on exactly what not to do. Like I was in a low position and I kept buying and buying and buying on the way up because I was like, oh, what's going on? I'm just making so much money. And then I lost it all. Like it was just gone. And that taught me a lot coming into Pokemon boom. I remember the day I started was the Logan Paul box break. And I think I got the notification and I watched the market for like a month. And I said, this exactly what is happening right now is exactly what I saw in like that crypto. And that really taught me not to get hype and get euphoria and start buying stuff on the way up. I really learned that. And that saved my ass. Like that, if I had done the exact same thing and not learned a lesson, then I wouldn't be where I am here. So I think really I forgot what I was going to say. Learning and fixing your business and stuff like that during a turmoil is a really good way to pivot your attention, at least.
Yeah.
If mentally you're not coping with losses or with, business downturn or liquidity and stuff like that, shifting your mindset to doing something positive in your business, even if it's not for financial gain, is I think the best way to position yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like even like right now, like I made a video about it like a long time ago, 6 booms ago or whatever it was. But I was just like, now is like the best liquidity, all that sort of stuff. Like dump your trash now, like dump it now, because like you're going to get more now for it than you would in like a bear market. So like if you have trash, if you have stuff that's been sitting in a corner that you're like, like literally like figure out what that's going to cost you to ship. If it's going to cost $6, charge $7.99, 99 cents, start it, create a lot on eBay and just auction that shit off. Like get it out of your house. And like, it seems insignificant, but then when it comes to a bear market and you're like, man, I really wish I had that $500, you're going to be kicking yourself because you could have got $500 out of all your trash. And now it's worth like 150 or something like that. Right. So I think like, yeah, to your point, like definitely clean things up, fix stuff. Like all this little stuff that you've been putting off or whatever, like you should do it. And honestly, like, I mean, it's funny coming from me, but like, I would be growing a following in a bear market. Like I would be growing like a social media following, like getting on YouTube and stuff. And like, you're not going to get bull market views, but you're going to build out a following. And then when the market does cycle again, like not only is your business going to take off, but you're going to be this person that the YouTube algorithm is already favoring in a down market. And then when the market turns, like you're going to be crushing it. Like you are going to be what like YouTube pushes. So, and you probably have more time in a bear market, right? Like, because you're not doing as much, not making as much money. Maybe there's not as much opportunity or whatever. So like make content, like put yourself out there on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. I think that's really important, but like part of it too is being okay with like smaller margins, but also like looking places where others aren't. Like I remember like certain plays seemed really flooded during the bear market. And so I was like looking for cards that had like really good margin if you could 10 them that like people weren't really looking at. Like I remember grading like the Carmine or whatever from Twilight Masquerade, like the chick that's like eating the noodles or whatever. I'm not really like, I don't really grade trainers, but you could buy that card for like $80 raw. It tend like a decent amount of the time and it sold pretty well for like 275 to 300. Whereas like a lot of the obvious chase cards of the Pokemon and stuff like that, like they were just flooded and there was like a $5 to $10 margin there. Like there wasn't really tons of margin. So like trying to find like other plays that like people aren't really doing, I think can help too. But like, yeah, just being okay with like smaller margin on things, but like doing it like over and over and over and over. I also think like so many people are investing now that like, I don't know, man. Like I remember I did a live with his name was like ZenForce TCG. He's like a local guy.
Zach,
his name's Zach. Like he's super cool. Shouts out to him. But he was like, yeah, man, like I bought some crypto thing. I don't know if it was an NFT or what, but he's like, it went up to like $220,000 and I didn't sell. And like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, like, and like, he doesn't have like a house and like all this sort of, and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, like, why didn't you sell? And he's like, I just didn't know. And I don't like fault him for that at all. But like, I think setting yourself up financially, like I did not invest at all for the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of my business. Like it was all turn and burn. It was all turn and burn. And really, you should not be investing until you're at a financial point to where like you can park that money and literally not care about it, And so I think a lot of people now, because Pokemon investment content has become so popular, people think that like that's just what you do. And it's like, yeah, but all these guys that are making that content have an active business that allows them to shovel money into this passive stuff. So if your whole thing is like, oh, I'm a Pokemon business person, I buy sealed product and let it sit, you're going to get cooked. You're going to get cooked because the stagnation is almost worse than anything. Because if you buy the product at 90% of market, like, and you don't have any sort of eBay built up or a website or preferential fees or whatever, and you were buying stuff at 90% and it just sits, like maybe it doesn't go down, but it just sits, like you're not going to make any money. And there's going to be people behind you that bought it 70 or 80% that are going to undercut your life away. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like I get that it's like sexy and everybody wants to like flex their collector app on each other and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, dude, none of that shit matters. Like the one thing that I've learned, like getting older, and this sounds like really guru-y, and like I don't have all my like life shit figured out, but the biggest flex is silent contentment. If you are happy without having to let everybody else on the internet or in your personal life know that you're happy, that is the biggest flex. If you have to go to the internet with your collector app for like affirmation or whatever, like you're doing it wrong, my guy. Because if you can set your family up for like generational wealth, or you can pay off student loans or pay off your house, who cares if you can no longer go on Instagram and flex that you have a $200,000 Pokemon seal collection? If you meaningfully change your life so that you guys are set if the market ever corrects, that is so much more important. And that is something that you should be prioritizing so much more than trying to look cool on the internet. And like, I don't say that to be condescending. Like I just like, I want people to be successful and I want people to see meaningful, like life-changing gains from this. And I think people can, but I think it becomes this like weird internet. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm like spiraling and going off on a rant right now, but like, do you kind of, am I making sense? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Or am I just all over the place?
No, you are. And you make a good point. Taking it back to where you started there, like absolutely. If you're getting into the space, if you genuinely are getting into the space and you are not trying to operate a business and you genuinely have free cash from whatever your job is, and you are just wanting to put it into investing in here and you don't care, you're not trying to use that income to generate, like to run a business. I think that's different to people who are like maybe cosplaying, trying to be a business, but they might be operating with $1,000 capital and they've got $5,000 in seal that is sitting there doing nothing. Like it's the amount, how effective that cash flow is early on when you've got nothing is indescribable. I can't imagine where my business would be today if I took that advice and used every single available cent possible early on. Like I did hold. I didn't intend. I didn't like invest. I was never investing. It was more the mindset of I don't want to sell it for less than what I'm asking. If I had have just kept, and everything would have been profit regardless. Like, why am I trying to squeeze out an extra 5% when I'm up 100% on an item? Like, it's a stupid mindset. But back then, if I had have just absolutely churned and burned everything, I can't imagine where most people would be today. But when you're starting with little, like, because let's be realistic, almost every play you can make now in this market, in the market a year ago, in the market 2 years ago, in the market 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you're probably making anywhere between 2 and 100% on every single transaction you do, like realistically. And I aim for like a 50 to 100% turnover for a lot of the stuff I do, which sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but it's just the reality of the market we're in. If you are starting and you are investing in like stuff like that, I would just recommend that, especially coming into a bear market. You do not want to be having 50% of your business liquidity tied up in stagnant things. Like you can still make those 10, 20, 30, 50, 100% margins in a dropping bear market if you just keep like turning that over. Like, I think we might have strayed off the point a bit. We've got 2 questions. Let's answer these 2 questions.
I think it's good. And like, I listened, like, I love Rudy. Like Rudy's great, very smart, great life advice.
Staying the course is not the right.
Well, it's staying the course with the caveat that like he is, netting
Rich.
rich and like netting probably, I don't know, 5 figures a month off Patreon plus the stuff that he sells and takes profits on. Like he is able to, like he will say like, oh, the flipper dippers or whatever, like it's derogatory, but it's like, dude, you're doing that. And you were doing that up until the point that like you could build what you have. So like I get what he's saying, because it's in the stock market, like people want to day trade and people want to buy this and then sell it when it goes up 5, and that's not how you create long-term wealth. Like long-term wealth is created by buying and holding and letting your dividends reinvest and all that sort of like the boring on sexy. So like I get where he's coming from there, but like I know for certain that the average percentage margin I was making 3 years ago on my business, 4 years ago, was way higher, right? But like I'm doing bigger numbers now, so like it doesn't make sense. Like I can't sit and make every single like little niche play and like grade all these cards and stuff like that. But to your point, like when you're smaller, like that $5,000 means everything, and you can realistically, it is so much easier to turn $5,000 into $20,000 than it is to turn $5 million into $20 million. You know what I mean? Like it's so. You can hit these crazy percentages and really like snowball your capital and all that in such a short period of time. But man, like I just, Pokemon is like this whole business, like this is like meaningfully changed my life and my family's life and hopefully like generations of my family to come. So like that's amazing to me. But like I think that people get tied up, like I said, in whether it's like trying to look cool on the internet or feeling this like pressure or whatever. And like ultimately when it comes down to like how I operate in a bear market, it's like a lot of the decisions you're making now are going to affect if you can survive the bear market. And so like, could Pokemon 10x from here, like in the next year, like maybe or something. But like, again, if you can pay off student loans, if you can pay off your house, if you can buy a house, if you can do something that will meaningfully change your life and put you ahead, you are going to be able to make very smart decisions, and you're going to be able to hold and withstand during the bear market, because you're not selling the bottom or trying to get out or worrying about this like crazy high interest rate you're paying on a loan or something like that. So I think it's okay to take profits and to like keep stuff moving. I don't know. Like
if you do make a mistake and you do like come out of this bear market and you go, oh, I should have done that. And make sure you learn. Make sure you use that. Make sure you learn from that and use that going forward. And that's also very valuable. Like getting burnt is very valuable. But I guess the last thing in the operating a bear market.
Get burnt now when you can make it back. Don't get burnt when like it's like the worst time to get burnt.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
All right,
2 questions quickly. Or just you start them for later.
Yeah, let's answer these questions. Okay, what was the most satisfying collection goal you guys achieved that you never thought you'd complete? It can be a specific card or a larger goal.
The one that sticks out for me, and I don't really like. I guess I do still collect. Like back in the day when after that first downturn came, I really got into the Dragon Ball score. Like I didn't know it existed. I went into it and I started like looking for the grails. And it wasn't like a market that was very optimized at all, and it still isn't. But I was like, oh, I really want to get like the top cards. And there was a BGS 9 of like one of the top prize cards. I was like, oh, I want that. And the guy wouldn't sell it to me. I was like, all right, well, I got to get it. And I ended up getting like, there's only theorized like 121 copies of this card or something. It's pretty, in the scheme of things, pretty low.
Champion drill, right?
The champion drill. Yeah, one of the world championship cards. And I was like, all right. And I probably went through, bought and sold almost every raw card that popped up, became available. I probably went through like 15 or 20 cards. And I eventually BGS 9 won. I was like, hey, look, there we go. I've got it now. As soon as I did it, I absolutely had no desire to keep it. It was the chase of fun. Like that's what makes, I think, collection pieces special, is the chase and like the grind to get it. Was absolutely probably not a great use of my time, but it was fun, and I learned a new market. Like it was a bit of fun. it's hard now because like there are things I want to collect. Like I'm really into vintage video game, like Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color video games, graded things like that. It's not as fun now. Like I see a piece I really want that I have wanted for like unknowingly wanted for like for a long time, and you just kind of buy it and it's kind of like, okay, cool, like I've got it, and I do genuinely enjoy it, and it really resonates because it is like a childhood game, and I still play it like on the physical console, stuff like that. So maybe like a Super Smash Brothers 64, like in a high grade, is kind of like my favorite collection piece at the moment. And someone sent me an offer, like an unsolicited offer the other day, and I was like, oh man, I really should. I was tempted to accept an offer, but I was like, I can't. It's the one thing at the moment I don't want to say.
To Komiya Hollow Pikachu 30th anniversary.
Yeah. What about yourself? Yeah, you put a post up today, I saw.
Yeah, not like a super huge collector, but like I am buying stuff that I enjoy right now that I think is good, like speculations. Honestly, like a lot of, I don't know, it's kind of hard because like some of the stuff I'm going after, like I don't want like other people to go after because there's not like a ton of it. But yeah, I love DBZ stuff. I really do. Like I love anime stuff. Like I've been buying Naruto cards lately too. Like a lot of this stuff is like super low pop. Like I bought a few like Pop 1 Kakashis. But again, like I'm right there with Kai. Like for me, it's like the chase. Like knowing how, like most of my grails are not cards that like I grew up with as a kid. There's stuff I learned about like after coming back into cards and learned the story and realized like how hard they are, because like we're both very experienced at like digging through Japanese websites and finding cards and all that sort of stuff. And when you can't find something, it becomes like more desirable. Like when you can't have it, it's like, oh man, like if I could ever find this card mint. And so like a lot of the cards I kind of hold as grails are cards that like I've been looking for 5 years and have never found a mint copy, like that kind of stuff. But it's the chase. Like once I get stuff in hand, like I have a Zion case full of DBZ stuff I love, but like I never look at those cards. I never look at those cards. I get them in, I'm like, cool, I put them in there, and that's just it. You know, maybe when we move or something and I have like a better place to set stuff up, I'll try to like bring it out and display it and stuff like that. But like I don't, yeah, I'm right there with Kai. It's all about the chase. Is the hobby becoming too optimized because we see the playing field become leveled too much, creating less opportunities? What do you think about that?
No, never. I know there's been like a narrative, like since I've been in 6 years now, like it's like, oh, it's getting way too optimized and it's going to squeeze the margins out. You're not going to be able to do all these super small plays. And I think definitely areas of the market are super optimized. Like you being able to send a card to PSA and then just going to give you cash. Like that's a massive optimization on like your business and liquidity and ability to sell and all those sorts of things. So I definitely see that parts of the market are getting way more optimized, you know, being able to mass grade through Fanatics without touching the card and just get cashing in, all these types of things. But the market is so emotion driven, and I don't think you can optimize it. You can learn from it. You can understand like how people think and how you expect them to act. If you see another 30% drop in like top chase cards in the next 3 months, you can probably expect to see another 30% the 3 months after. Like I think it's learning like how people think and act, and people are very irrational. I think that is the reason why a lot of it is not going to be optimized. I think there's so much opportunity with. It sounds dark, but like with people's emotions, like that's where a lot of like the opportunity lies. In my opinion, I don't think the optimization. I think the big business optimization might squeeze out some of that very high end stuff, but I don't think there's ever. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's optimized either. I think a lot of people are solving for problems right now. Like the fact that I can even like do wholesale at like the level I do, I feel like that's solving a problem. Like that's providing optimization. You know, mentioned Gem Inspector earlier. Like that's providing optimization. But again, like he's providing optimization so that you can take advantage of like unoptimization, right? Because like, yeah, you can buy a card now and raw and grade it with PSA, and PSA is going to provide you with a buyback. But what does that do? That creates like quicker liquidity for you to turn your money over and turn around and go buy another card that's not optimized because it is raw and will grade a PSA 10, right? So like there's always going to be plays, like we've said it a million times, you could make 6 figures easy. Like you could net 6 figures sitting on these auction houses and buying cards under market price, sending them to James, never even touching them. Probably like you could probably literally have stuff sent from Fanatics to James, auction it, and make 6 figures a year easy. Like if you're willing to do the work and you're, you know, like you have the knowledge base and all that sort of stuff. Like there's so much lack of optimization. And that's part of what makes me bullish about the future of the hobby too, is like you see a lot of these big companies starting to provide infrastructure, but we are still so far, like so far, like, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like all this optimization and building new infrastructure, stuff like that, all that's doing is growing the market. That just makes the market bigger, which just generates more opportunity elsewhere. Like it's a good example is when, you know, ZNG, obviously we know and love, some of us love. He opened this consignment house, and it's like, oh, cool. Let's sort of see how this plays out. And he got popular, and he got big, and now he's the biggest, or near the biggest, at least, you know, the biggest in terms of a respectable business. Like he's the #1 pillar in that space. And then Greeny came along, and Greeny started a consignment house. And I remember thinking to myself, how does he make this work? I thought it's like he's gonna get cooked. I didn't, and I'm just being honest. Like I was like, this is crazy, like that he's trying to make a consignment space with worse rates and competing with all these giants in a downturn, because he kind of started that 2-ish years ago, kind of when the market, before it kind of really picked up. I think it was kind of the timeline. I was like, man, how's he? This is not going to work. And now, like, I mean, he's absolutely crushing it, and you know, congrats to him and so on. But like, there is so much. I think all the optimization does is push people to other places, like, and it just grows the whole market. And then, you know, if you had to tell me 2 years ago that someone is pre-grading people's cards for $1 a card, I would have laughed. Like that's a ridiculous. But now it's like, you said that to me, I was like, you saying that, oh, why didn't you get someone to pre-grade your cards? I went, what? Why would I pay someone else to pre-grade my cards? And it was within a week I'd hired a friend to literally come and pre-grade cards. Like, yeah, it's wild. Like all I think is the optimization makes the industry look more professional, and having an optimized industry is a good thing. Like you want there to be more liquidity, and you want there to be better spaces to do things. Like you said before, getting back to the point of, you know, coming into a downturn and get rid of your junk, you don't even have to list that in your eBay yourself. The amount of times that one afternoon I'm like, oh, I'm just going to like get a box and walk around and just fill it with slabs and raws and jumbos and coins and just crap. And I box it up. I'll send one off to, you know, Pro Scene. I'll send one off to like some of the Whatnot guys I can sign through. You can send through like, you know, Grimer, I think runs on Dan's. Like you don't even have to do anything yourself anymore. You could dump a box of junk and send it to wherever you want. Like that's the industry being optimized. That's an optimization. Being able to box up your stuff and just send it off, and then, you know, 3 weeks later get some cash. Like that's an optimization that only helps everyone. Helps the people doing it because they're generating revenue and income off the service. It's helping you because it's getting your time back and getting you, like, I think the optimization is probably majority only a good thing. I think it just creates more opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this could be a whole other team, but like those like the people that own like TKO brands just buying Collecticon or whatever, like Collecticon was good, but there's still like, there was like something, like, no offense to the guys running Collecticon, but like it wasn't quite there. Like it wasn't like, it was a well-run event. I'm sure these dudes are printing stupid money, but like the professionalism like wasn't quite there. You know what I mean? And so having a big company like this that has serious experience running events at a super high level and running international events and stuff like that, and they probably have like deals with unions or know how to like work with unions and stuff like that. Like a lot of these people running these card show circuits, that's why you see stuff pop up. Like I remember they did the card party thing, and like, you know, Pat was apologizing because I guess like the union Teamsters were like charging people all this money to like haul their you know, wagon in or whatever, because like it was a union state or whatever. But like these guys, like that would never happen if you have these big guys come in and optimize this space. And then again, like, you know, they're going to hire like better security. So then people feel more comfortable bringing their kids to shows. So then like that increases viewership, and then vendors feel safer because they know they're not going to get robbed. And maybe there's like guards in the parking lots now. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I think all that stuff grows the hobby. It's a very like scarcity mindset to think that like things getting optimized or infrastructure being built like pushes you out. Like it grows the pie. And like that sounds guru-y, and I used to, like, James used to say that, like, he actually made a video about like the pie like before, and I was just like, all right, yeah, whatever, rich guy. But he was right. Like he was 100% right. 100%.
And I think the biggest example is like, you know, Nat Turner and, you know, whatever it is, collectors. They're, I mean, how much has PSA changed in the last 3 years? I know we've talked about this before, but they've come in, they've optimized the way this, you know, collectors universe runs. They've fixed it. They made things better. I know, you know, where they've shut down, blah, blah, blah. That's besides the point. Like everything about PSA today is better than it was 5 years ago. You know, they're coming and bought BGS, and what happens now, BGS has better website functionality. They've changed the labels. You get scans. Their customer service is better because now you've optimized the customer service because you just brought it into your business. They bought Water Games, turned it into PSA games. Now PSA games are more liquid. The cases are better. The security is better. The customer service is better. The prices are better. Turnaround times are better. Like at the very, very top, it's so annoying when Jim is right. That's the worst thing. But like that's the very top. Like that's the multi-billion-dollar company at the top of our industry that is optimizing everything, and it's only trickling down. PSA being more optimized, collectors being more optimized, is just making every single other person blow it richer, like better, like operating better. Like, yeah,
100%.
Optimization brings confidence, which I think grows.
Yeah,
your proverbial pie. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I feel bad. Like I'm pretty sure you gotta go do some like work or dad duty or something like that. So
no, the family's out. I've got no time constraints at all.
All right. Well, cool. We can talk about that because this one I feel is pretty good. Commandment number 4. If you guys have been watching all the episodes, we do one flipping, Pokemon reselling, whatever you want to call it, commandment per episode. This one, buy the promo. And so I remember when the second, I think it's like the Magikarp, the Korean Magikarp promo came out, and I'm in like a group text with like Jodo, Jake, and Ern goes, you know, like what price would make you feel comfortable to buy the promo? And I'm like, market price. Like whatever the price is, like I don't care. Like buy the promo. Like, are you not right? Because if you don't buy the promo, someone else is going to buy the promo. They're going to grade it. They're going to make money on it. So why is that person not you? It doesn't matter if that promo is going to get cut in half. It doesn't matter if it's going to get divided by 4. It doesn't matter. It's like to the same thing, the point with the Luffy, and like I'll report back here in 45 days or whatever when I get my cards back and I go to sell the cards. I bought that promo and it's halved from where I bought it at. I'm 99% sure I'm still going to make money. It does not matter. Buy the promo. Everybody's going to want it. You know, they generally don't do like crazy reprints on promos. There is a chance that like at release is the cheapest you can get it, but even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. If the whole point is you're trying to like send it off, make money off of it, buy it. If it gets cut in half, buy more. If it gets cut in half again, buy more. Buy the promo. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. What I don't think I'm going to get a ton of pushback from you on this, but no. What do you have to say?
There is only one single instance where buy the promo didn't work. The only case I can think of where like
the Iono, the Iono card.
That is the only promo that I can think of in the last 6 years that has not been a buy the promo. Yeah, that is the only one. As you said, like if you're buying something because you've got conviction in it, you should be happy if it goes down when you buy it. Like if you genuinely are wanting to build a long-term position in a card, you should be genuinely happy that if you buy it, because the thing is like there's so much safety, like margin of safety in it. If you buy a card and it halves raw and you're grading it, are you really going to like be able to like, is the 10 once you've graded? Because if that's the plan regardless, are you really going to sell a 10 less than what your cost is? If it would have to be pretty dark, like the owner's watch rule, for that to happen. Yeah, Iona's watch is the worst of all time. Absolutely. And that is the only example I can think of. So I think it's a pretty good case to just buy the promo. But that's the thing. Like, even I literally just blind copied you in this Luffy promo. I said, it's the main character eating watermelon. The card's metal. It's got a signature. It's Japanese. It's got all the fundamentals you could want outside of not being a TCG card, really. Which in his, like, realistically, I think history has shown that it doesn't even have to be a TCG card to matter. We've seen plenty of other non-TCG cards do super well. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted by chat. But yeah, it's you should be happy if you really have conviction in something and it does go down. We talk about this all the time, and it's how to operate in a bear market and how to scale stuff up. Buy the promo, realistically. I was telling you for years. Like, I'm still buying this. How do you say Geiko Spark, the Japanese gym.
Oh yeah,
event promos.
Yeah, the gym promos.
For years, like, I was literally like, I bought another 500 because they're still $2 each. It's like, I bought another 500 because I went for $3 each. And it's like, I would have bought 5,000 copies of that card. For ages, I was saying, oh, double one. Like, I was buying the first Skeleton Bullet promo, that Pikachu with 3 starters, 001 SVP. I was like, oh, it's still $9. I'll buy them all. It's like, oh, it's still $9. I'll buy them all. Oh, it's $10. I'll buy them all. Like, and I know, like, you can't predict what's going to happen, but if every single promo ever, except one, has kind of shown the same trend over like a 1 to 2 year time frame, then I think that makes a pretty good case for picking something that makes sense, that still has inbuilt margin if you're looking to grade it, and just kind of doing it. The one thing I still like, not thrifties, I haven't bought any more of these yet, primarily because I don't really want, like, this is the one thing where I don't really want to buy these boxes to open them to grade the promo, because even, like, especially right now, the margin between buying the box, grading it, 80, which is not a good example, but I think for how bad, like, the centering are, and the first wave were all, half of them were damaged. Like, I don't think the EV is as good for that product, but I definitely can see, like, buying these. And you were saying the other day, like, buying the Hiroshima box and those 3. You are buying the promo. You're buying it wrapped in some extra crap, but
yeah, it's I don't know. Like, it's tough with those boxes. I haven't opened any. Like, I haven't graded like any of them. I just bought the chunk at release and have just been like sitting on them ever since. It's kind of like the Mario Pikachu, Luigi Pikachu boxes. Like, I'm cool. Like, I would rather have the boxes and like let somebody else like take the risk. It's like, cool, dude. You know what? Like, if you want to open it and grade a 10 and you make money, awesome. As long as like I make my sealed appreciation, I'm happy with it. I think the cards are cool, but it's not worth it for me to like take the risk of like opening the product. I'm more talking about, because like I see people are like Champion's Path Charizard promo was pretty dark. I think that card's actually up, and that's like one of the most graded cards of all time. But again, like, that came out of a tin. I'm talking more about like cellophane promos that like are, you can buy in clips of like 10.
It was the ETB promo, and I think it's still, regardless of how dark it is, it's one that has still always had margin. Like, you've always still been able to buy copies in mass, grade them, get 10s, and you might be only profiting $10-20, but like, again, it's a high sell. It's the 3rd most graded Pokemon card of all time, I think. I think it's Burgachu, Van Gogh, and then I think it's in the top 5, the Champion's Path ETB promo, the Charizard. And yeah, it's still only like $80 to $110 graded in a 10. But like, it's always been, if you had only been buying and selling that card for the last 5 years, you still would have made an absolute shit ton of money doing that.
I mean, same thing with Van Gogh. Like, remember when everybody's like, oh, I'm going to wait till Van Gogh gets to like $50 and all this stuff or whatever. And it just like, it never did. Like, and it's done nothing but pretty much like go up, and then it retraces, and then it goes up and it's a new all-time high. And it's like, you could have structured your entire business just around that card. You can structure your entire business. I was actually thinking a long time ago when you were talking about starting a new eBay, I was like, maybe I should make an eBay called like promos only, or like only promos or something, and literally just have an eBay that has like either raw promos in cellophane or graded promos. And that's it. That's the entire eBay. Because I literally think that you can make like stupid money not doing a single thing with set cards and like only focusing on promos and just going super deep. And I look back on like some of my best like speculations. I was buying Nagaba packs when they were like $20, and I think my listing is like almost $200 a pack now. And I'm like almost sold out. You know what I mean? And it's like
for the evolution ones,
for the EV ones, like it's insane. Yeah, the packs are up crazy. And it's like,
jeez.
Again, but that's my risk tolerance. I'm more like, okay, bird in the hand versus, like I could have opened those. Maybe I like, send them to BGS and hit a black label or something. But it's like I'm cool with just like taking the margin and replenishing them and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like if you get a promo, like I'm sure there's going to be some 30th anniversary promos. Buy them, just buy them. Like seriously, like do yourself a favor, buy those promos, and grade those promos. Like
I don't really do set cards. I've never really done set cards because I know you guys have like Troll and Toad and TCG Player and all these places where you can buy bulk set cards. In Australia, unless you're using middleman from outside, there isn't really anywhere where you can buy bulk amount of set cards. And so I've never really, and I've had less conviction in set cards because you can reprint promos, but you can generate more set cards, things like that. I'd say 90% of my business, up until we started streaming, like eBay side, has been promos only because the margins have always been good on promos, and promos are typically cards you can source in high quantity. And I think that's really important. Like, I don't want to sit there and spend 6 hours a day going through every listing and looking one by one, paying shipping on every single one. I'd rather go, I know this promo just came out. It's the cleanest it's ever going to be because it's touched the least amount of hands. I'll just take quantity. Like, thank you. Next sort of thing. Like the amount of time you save rather than having to look through things like that. I think it's a lot less risky. Obviously, a lot more people do it. Your margins might go down, but a majority of people are going to try and flush through those inventories as fast as possible, and that's kind of when you see the appreciation on the promo cards.
Well, to your point too about like it just like being less risky, you're the only option. Like, unless you go to whatever event or, maybe sometimes there's booster box campaign promos and you were in Japan and you bought a box of, what is it, like silver black jet geist or whatever, and you get the Selby promo, like you're it. Like if you want that card, you have to buy it on the secondary market. Like that is like with set cards, like, oh, well, I'll just open it myself. Right. Like you can't do that with a promo. Like you have to buy, and generally, like after release, like it's secondary market. That's it. Like once once Burger Chew was out, you weren't going to McDonald's anymore and getting Burger Chew. You were buying it on the secondary market from resellers or businesses or card shops or whatever. And so that sort of like can help provide a floor. And there like are people that take massive positions and they're going to dump over time and all that sort of stuff. But the reason that promos tend to do well over time is because like they're not. The initial dump, the initial wave, like is sort of like the most difficult point. Like I looked at the Charmander while we were talking from the first partner illustration collection, and that card, like you would think like, oh, like so many of those have hit the market, so many of those have been open, blah blah blah. Like that card would like have, and it's above release price right now on TCG Player. So that card has done nothing but actually like go up. You know what I mean? So I look at the opportunity that's coming up with the 30th anniversary, and I'm like, there's going to be so many promos, and there's probably going to be cards that are produced so much that are super cheap, and they check all the boxes, but people are like, oh, it's cheap, I don't want it. That is the exact wrong thinking to have. Like, you need to be loading up on that stuff when it's cheap. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, to your point about like the gym promos and stuff like that, I look back on even like I remember I was buying the Vaporeon gym promos or whatever, and I graded a bunch of those, and they like sat forever, and then all of a sudden they all sold, and I like listened like. So it's one of those things that like when they do gap up, like it gaps up out of nowhere, and then everybody wants it, and there is not a ton on the market because they're not sitting being replenished like all the time. Like the supply is the supply. Like that's it. Like you can't go open more of these cards like you can when you're pulling set cards. So when people decide that they want it or the market moves on it, generally it doesn't go back. Like I can't personally think of a promo card that has, you know, doubled in price and then given all of that back and never moved again. Like I can't think of, and Shug said like, you know, I thought I was printing when I sold my Japanese stamp box for 420. We all did. Like we all did, because you were buying the boxes for 150, 175 or something like that. you know, but like now, what is that card? Like $3,000 or something like that? Like it's $5,000. I don't even know. Like what is Sandbox Pikachu?
No, it's crashed hard back down to $3,000. You know, from
the hard crash. Yeah, hard crash. Yeah. So I mean that's pretty much it. Like I guess we don't have to like sit and beat it at horse, but just like buy the promo. Like don't get Galaxy Brain. Don't sit in Discord and talk to all your buddies. Like, yeah, well this promo when it came out was $15, so I'm not paying more than $12 for this one because it's a less popular. But like, don't create those bullshit narratives. Buy the card. Just buy the card. Like stop.
It'll be really interesting coming into the 30th because I think I'm hoping you might. I don't know who will. Like maybe the demand for I think it is. The demand for 30th is going to be so high, and I think everyone's going to want to do this. Everyone's going to buy as much promo as they can or card as they can, just in general. If they manage to do the thing where they print enough that you do see, because they printed so many Celebration ETBs, and the market was a lot smaller then. Gold Star Greninja was $1. I remember seeing a listing on Facebook. It was 1,000 Gold Star Greninja sealed for like $1,200. And you know, you go, oh, gross! It's so cheap. I'm not going to buy it. I wonder, like coming into this, I wonder what percentage, like the mentality of people looking at this, you know, see that opportunity and do what I did in Celebrations, go, oh, it's cheap. It's gone from $4 to $1. Like, you know, not going to touch that. Disgusting.
I think people are going to be hella focused on like the top 5 to 10 cards, and there's going to be tons of like good stuff. Like those Pikachus, I bet those Pikachus get cheap in English and in Japanese. Like I bet they get cheap. If anything, maybe they don't. Yeah, like the 30 different Pikachu hauls, I bet those get cheap. And that's why I'm booking that Japan trip for 3 to 4 weeks after the anniversary hits, because like I'm ready to hit those card stores and clear them out of the cheap cards. Like all that stuff. It's the same. I mean, I did the same thing with Celebrations. Like I was still grading the Charizard, but like Blastoise and Venusaur sold through just as quick and had higher percentage margin, but no one was touching them because they were $3, $4 cards. And I used to go to like card shows and buy them out of people's binders, and they would 10 all day. And I would turn like a $3 card with 13 grading into like $80, and they would sell like 3, 4, 5 copies a day. And it was a higher percentage return than the Charizard was. And so people were so hyper focused on like the higher end. And I think the same thing's going to happen. Here's the other thing. Celebrations, like everything outside of like Charizard and Umbreon was dirt cheap forever. The set was like 30 cards. This set is going to be like over set. 80, right? It's like, or over 100 or something like. So there's going to be so much missed stuff of popular Pokemon, good art, whether it's a reprint or an original art that people are going to look over. And like, that's the stuff that you just want to be like, accumulating, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I hope it gets cheap in Japanese. I lean towards, if anything, it might not get cheap in Japanese just because like historically, like literally every single anniversary set has outperformed in Japanese compared to English. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I think that people will say like, oh yeah, well, when things get cheap, but then they won't, just because they never do. Like they never, I don't know. I'm a little more pessimistic about people actually following through with doing that, which great for us, right? Because we'll be.
Well, and I think that's the thing. Like the more experience you've got and the more cycles you've been through, like I know now this time I'm not going to like go gross to bulk, cheap, popular things. Like I know, like I'll have the mindset that's what we're waiting for. We've been waiting for that for 2 years to be able to do this. Like I don't think there's anything that's going to be able to scare me off, no matter how cheap it gets and how dark it is for so long. If you're buying dollar Pikachus and you have to hold them for 2 years, and then you know eventually that's when you can grade them and move on. Like, and you've got the capital to be able to set that sort of stuff aside. But that's the plan, and you stick to it. I think you'd be laughing, but you never know. Got my McDonald's Pikachu BGS number 270. Oh, the old one. Yeah. I'm hoping the 2002 one.
Yeah. Dude, I remember I sold one of those with a movie swirl for like $450 or something. Like, oh man, so much pain thinking back.
Someone bought my entire BGS 10 set of the holos for like $1,200 at Collected on Orlando.
It's pain, dude. It's pain thinking back on it. It's so, I don't know though. Like, I mean, it's weird. Like, I do feel bad looking back on stuff, and I'm like, man, but then I almost have more conviction now because I look at stuff and it almost feels easier to spot when things are undervalued, because I'm like, I see how much all this other stuff is selling for, and I'm like, the market is going nuts, but like this item hasn't moved, or like this still seems cheap compared to like all this other stuff. So even though like I made the case like a couple episodes ago, or maybe it was last episode, about like the XY full arts. It's funny that Alakazam sold. I didn't buy it. Like, I don't know, but like that Alakazam is gone, and that card's up to $1,000 now. I'm not a genius. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but like it seemed cheap. It seemed cheap. Like you're paying $5,000 for Pikachu or something, but like we have all these mega sets that could come out, and there's a high possibility that they put Alakazam. And even if they don't, $750 for a mega Alakazam chase that's, you know, pop, I don't know, 200 or something like that. That seems cheap relative to all this other stuff. So even though that card was like $200 a couple of years ago, and it hurts to think back on like how cheap we used to be able to get this stuff for, it's easier for me now, seeing everything else going crazy, to be like, I'd pay $750 for that. Like that seems like a good value. You know what I mean? Like because I'm seeing all this other stuff go 200, like Summer Slowdown, but a bubble Mew just sold for 250 grand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are we talking about, dude? So like when I look at, and I mean, there's so many of these Japanese and even English like XY cards that are like $500 to $1,000, and I just like, yeah, those cards were half the price, a third of the price, like a couple of years ago, but they still seem like good value comparatively. So, anyways, do you have a good make the case for this episode? Any dusty specs you'd like to share with the class?
I don't know if it's good. It's more different, but it's more of a. I am physically doing that. It's more like a metaphorical make the case. It's like what we talked about before is when things are like, it's really good to expand your business and what your business can do and what your skill set is. So these last 2 weeks, I've actually parked a lot of money in non-TCG things. I've made 2 pretty significant plays in the video game market. I think we talked about last time. I bought a couple of like factory cases of a certain PS1 game, and I've graded them all, and I'm going to slow sell over the next. It's probably going to take a year or 2, but I think it's more like expanding your skill set and expanding like your, like accepting that things are going to take a long time, but making good plays that you know that it's going to be generating that money that you've parked is going to be generating you profit over time, which is kind of what I do with the promos as well. Like it's the exact same thing. It's just in a different market. So yesterday I had a chat to Greenie, the Green Shiz Consignments. Shout out. He does do video game consignments as well. I'm making a play through him. I went and bought a lot of Grand Theft Auto games on PS2. You can buy, like, there is a really cheap reprint. It's really cheap. They come factory sealed. They're like sub $100, like they're like sub $30 for the games. You can grade them with PSA. Like I parked about $30,000 in that with games and grading, and I don't know how long that's going to take. They're pretty liquid games. We're coming up to a GTA hype cycle. If you guys aren't paying attention, it's just I thought it was a good play. I did the maths, and I think there was a 0% chance of it not working over the next 1 to 2 years. And yeah, just having, like, I guess the experience that comes with the experience is I've got the fortitude to make large plays in sort of other markets that I've tested. I've dabbled, a bit of context. I've dabbled in the video market already. I've graded these games specifically before and had like pretty good gem rates on grading them. And so I just decided to do it at a much larger scale, palm off all the work to Greenie. Basically all I'm doing is I put the money in. They're going to ship it directly from eBay to PSA, and PSA is going to ship back to Greenie. So theoretically, in my mind, that is money that I'm just investing that is going to give me like a slow return over time. And I think that, no matter what I do now, that's done. Like that's done. I'm going to operate my business as normal. I'm going to keep doing the streaming and eBay and blah, blah, blah. But that's just going to be realistically passive income now for the next, 12 to 18 months sort of thing. And again, it was finding an opportunity that the cost basis is low enough that there's almost a 0% chance that it doesn't pay off in the sort of short to medium term. Yeah, I
think it's a good play. I think it's a good play.
So I guess, to make the case is just, I would implore people to, if they're feeling burnt out, if they're feeling like they need a break from whatever they're grinding, and you are seeing one certain, to tie the whole episode up, if you're seeing find opportunities elsewhere, find something else to do, learn a new skill, and use that. Like, because you don't know eventually when that is going to come in handy. If you need to, something might pop up, and you've got that experience, you've got that knowledge to really capitalize on changing markets. And like PSA coming into the graded market, like it optimized that, but games have been on the uptrend then because no one knew what it was, no one cared. They were pigeonholed to massive scandals with heritage auctions from a couple of years ago. If people don't know, like that, their name was tarnished. PSA coming and buying it has done nothing but sort of boom that. And if I saw that happen, I went, okay, cool. PSA owns Water now. PSA are the #1 video game grading company. I'm so much more optimistic in that market. I already had the knowledge. I already had the experience to go, all right, let's start moving, and let's start making plays in a different market, because I learned a skill that I actively wasn't using at the time. It was just dormant. I knew I could do it, and everything changed. And yeah, that's my case.
I mean, hindsight is 2020, but like now, kind of like listening to you say, like, yeah, like they were embroiled in scandal, but then like PSA came in. It's like the moment that PSA announced that they were acquiring WADA, you should have just gone all, not you, but like you should have just gone. I should have gone like all in on graded games, especially like WADA games, to get them like transferred over to the new PSA holder. And like I mean, I bet you. It'd be interesting to compare like some of these vintage cards that have, like especially the mid-era stuff that's gone crazy. I bet if you bought at the right times on a lot of these games, like you might have outperformed buying the video games compared to like a lot of I don't know, because I don't know the market as well as you do. But
yeah, as an example, I showed like the other day I was bidding on, I bought like my red, blue, yellow on Game Boy Color, got them graded, things like that. I was like, oh, I really like, I like English cards. I really like Japanese cards more. So I started doing like digging into like Japanese video games and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, cool. I found it was on Fanatics that someone was auctioning like a yellow and a green Pokemon Game Boy Color games, or just Game Boy games. And that market is 5 to 10x in the last 2 months. Like those games, I was the underbidder on those auctions at like $3,000. And that exact same cert went to Golden and sold for like 17 grand or something like that. Like, yeah, and I think PSA, a lot of that has to do with PSA acquiring the market and bringing consumer confidence back to that market. People are now happy to dabble again in that market because they have much more confidence in PSA than they did, Water, basically. So, and again, like in hindsight, like if you liked manga and you were in that market, you had experience in like grading cards or video games or blah blah blah, VHS tapes, and you were into manga, and then you saw that Beckett was grading manga. The first couple of graded sales of manga was pretty dark. No, it was dark. Like it was cheap. And obviously you can't see these billionaires, like you can't foresee these billionaires coming in and, like Jeremy and Logan and stuff like that and pumping these markets up. But if you had the knowledge to know that reputable people coming into the space and optimizing, Beckett coming in and grading manga, like that's in hindsight, a big opportunity to, potentially put a little bit of speculation money into that sort of place and buy up keys and things like that. Yeah. There's so much. It's great.
The manga
so much,
thing.
Yeah.
The manga thing though, like I just think back to like us walking around Japan and literally every single book off had like thousands of Naruto and DBs. And again, like I'm not knowledgeable enough on like how you tell the first print and all, but like what are the chances that like somebody finds like another first print One Piece and Naruto and Dragon Ball Z? Like I don't think, like I think the pops are low right now because people there was no money there. There was money in video games off rip. Like, and a lot of that was manipulation, but like regardless, like there was money there off rip. Like, and the sales of video games is like people were making money there and people were spending big money. Like you said with the manga, that wasn't the case. And now all of a sudden, like these guys are buying stuff from Radar for $50,000, $70,000, whatever. But I'm like, I don't know if Radar got one of those from Japan. Like Radar might have just been walking around and like picked a copy out that he thought was clean, put some plastic on it, brought it home, got it. I don't know. But like in my mind, like I'd be much more confident in the future of graded games than the manga stuff, because there's just so much of it in Japan. And I don't know, like we went into what, like 10, 20 stores. It's like, if you made it your life's goal, like now that these manga first appearances are selling for these crazy, like you could theoretically, like you could make 150 grand in a week if you know like what stores to go to in Japan, and like you come back and you get, because you don't even need to hit the highest grade. You could hit something like a 0.2 or a 0.4 below that, and you're still caking up and making money, right? So like I'm a lot more confident. Like, I don't know, maybe this ages poorly because manga is just like less of a developed market, and video games is, but like I am more confident in the video game market than I am in the manga market. Like I don't know what you think about that, but
yeah. Oh, I mean, I've been studying it because it is such a small market. It is really easy to catch up to speed with everything that's happened in video games in the last 5 years. Like, it realistically didn't take me that long. There is one pinnacle content creator, like the biggest content creator in that space is Get the Greg Games, and he's got like 35,000 views. I went back and I watched every single podcast where he got all the industry experts on over a 1 to 2 year span, and it's still going. And I caught up for that entire market, knew the history of ups and downs, every price swing, every major milestone sale, everything like that. I caught up with that in like 2 months. And then I was like, cool. Like, I genuinely understand that. I'm still following like the top people, and you're not seeing any of the top guys in that space really dump anything. Like, they are accumulating because they made so much money churning the junk of the space. Like, kind of what I'm doing with this play. Like, it's like the ancient Mew, which is crazy because it's so expensive now, but it's like the ancient Mew of video games. It's just, there is infinite liquidity there for a sealed Grand Theft Auto game in plastic that says 10. Like, that is just something that someone will casually buy for $200 forever as a display piece. But it's, yeah, I think we're getting very off. We're just chatting now.
No, like,
but yeah, that's
no, I get what you're saying. Like, you're selling that like churnable, repeatable, easy, not super rare stuff, so that you can afford to hold the actual sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how so many people, like, do you know, like how Rusty got his collection? He churned repeatable stuff for 2 decades or whatever. And because of that, he doesn't have to sell his first edition Charizard. He doesn't have to go sell it for $3,000 10 years ago, because he'll just sell $3,000 worth of bulk on eBay. Like, it's always been the way. If you can churn and accumulate the top keys, like, I think that in this industry, if you've got conviction in the short and long term and like the top end grails and things like that, it's just the best business model to try and to do. But it's really finding that balance of when the inflection point is that you can start doing that. Like, you know I'm bringing in X amount of money every week from all my revenue sources, and it's like, cool, I'm going to deploy X amount into rebuying inventory. I'm going to deploy X amount into like saving for taxes and stuff like that. And it's like, cool, I've got this left over. I'm going to put half of it into like a speculative play, and then maybe I'll buy like a key thing or something like that. It's just finding that inflection point is really important. Yeah. Unfortunately, Radar, the manga he did buy was fake, I believe, from Japan last time it was there. But this was like 2 years ago. It would have been like $200 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to do that with DBZ right now, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm seeing what people are paying for the one. Like, honestly, like that Good Charlotte interview and how deep those guys were on Dusty One Piece, I was like, holy shit. All it's gonna take is somebody that is doing that same thing about DBZ, and I'm generationally rich. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. And like, maybe that's super dusty, but like, I do have conviction in it. And so like, I'm kind of doing the same thing, like a little bit with Pokemon here and there. Like, I have certain stuff that I'm like, I don't really want to sell it at this price. Like, it seems too cheap. But I do believe in the long-term growth. And I think a lot of people have this idea that like these big guys are like dumping or whatever, and they're like manipulating the market up so they can dump on you or whatever. But like, most of these guys have a significant amount of net worth tied up in these collectibles, and they're not selling anything. They're accumulating, they're buying more, and they're having people on to learn about what to buy. And they're reaching out to industry experts to figure out what to buy. So like, that doesn't signal pump and dump to me. Pump and dump is like Steve Aoki with the MetaZoo stuff, trying to make fetch happen, like trying to make something that isn't collectible, that isn't popular, collectible, so that their position in these, rare trophy cards or whatever, all of a sudden become valuable. That's not what these guys are doing at all. These guys are like buying stuff because they believe in it and they believe in the future of it. And guys way richer than them, they think are gonna like eventually be interested in buying that kind of stuff. So
it's a big difference between like learning and buying and accumulating and then spreading awareness and spreading knowledge and like trying to teach, than buying something and saying this is the best because of this reason. Like, and that's what I'm seeing in the video game space at the moment is like the last month, like 2 or 3 new podcasts have popped up with the top guys, the top consigners, all those top business people doing the work and just kind of teaching. They say every episode their goal is to just spread awareness, bring people in, teach people stuff. And, having that already on YouTube was like for me to jump in and learn all that and navigate it. And, that's how these markets grow. But yes, very, very bullish on everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like the Ken Golden stuff or whatever, like I think like, Ken Golden, like, with the QVC stuff, the premium, like whatever, but like Ken collects and Ken speculates and Ken believes in the long term, and like Ken will buy stuff when it dips. And like if you listen, if you just go into, like, I always thought it was funny, like people were like, oh, like I would, billionaires shouldn't exist, and like I don't want to get political and stuff, but like I watch a podcast called All In, and I watch every single episode that they release. Why? Because it's 4 billionaires. When are you going to get the opportunity for free to listen to 4 billionaires talk long term or long form like content, right? So I look at that the same thing with like that podcast I sent you that's got, like the guy from Pawn Stars and King Golden, and it's like these guys are the top financially in the hobby. They're doing things at the highest level. Like if you're going into it with this closed off mindset of like, oh, these dudes are rich dudes, they're scamming, all that sort of stuff, and you don't think that there's any information that you can glean from that or any like learning, like to me, like you're lost. Like I listen to that stuff and like whether I like the person or not, I'm like, there's some information I can get here. Like there's something I can learn or something I can pick up on. And so I don't know. Like I think it's really important. And I think that people kind of have like this weird, vibe around like rich people and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like I think you should always be learning. And like, regardless of whether you agree with or know this person's origin story or how they got rich, it's pointless. It doesn't matter. Like the fact of the matter is like they're making big decisions in these markets. And if you're not paying attention to those, like I think you're losing out. Like your personal opinions don't really matter. I don't care for Logan Paul. I never have. Right. But like, someone sent me, I think maybe it was you or somebody sent me like the thing that he was like showing that he bought Cardos machines. So I went and watched it because I was interested in it. And I really, really like Cardos. And ultimately I think that that's a net positive to have like exposure to that stuff. Do I think that Logan has been digging through Japanese websites for the past 6 years like we have and loves Cardos as much as we do? No. Does that matter? No. I'm happy that somebody with his platform versus my channel with sub 3,000 followers is out there showing how cool this stuff is. Whether I like him as a person or not, or like him as a creator or think that he's like a real fan, none of that matters. I think ultimately like the exposure is more important. So,
and on the last point, like of making sure like listening to billionaires and like not always taking what they have to say, take it with a grain of salt. But like a good example is like Zinji Emporium started making, speaking of billionaires, 6 months into the boom, started making YouTube videos again, talking about this is just getting started. And then another 3 months passed, and he'll put another video out. He's like, this is crazy, but like we're at the beginning. Like he does it in like jest. He does it jokingly, but he's the one up there with all the insights. He's got all the data. He can see every single. He's doing $50 million. So he's seeing exactly what's going on. He makes the videos in a joking way, but like listening to that and absorbing that, whether you act on it or not, I think is really, important. If he's not going to come out there and say that, and without he's got the data to back up, he can see what's going on. Like I think he probably needs to drop another video soon to let us know how the market's going. But maybe if he comes out and says summer slowdown, I'll probably sell everything. I don't think James is having a summer slowdown.
I definitely, maybe we should have James on next episode. I'm sure he would have plenty of interesting stuff to tell us. Okay, really quick, we're coming up on 2 hours. Regular ETB promos compared to PC ETB promos. Do you I know that's kind of like a general question, but do you have a
Pokemon Center here? I've never seen a PC ETB or a promo. I don't care. Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's not scalable. I can't really go out and buy a bulk of like a PC ETB promo because they come out expensive and they stay expensive. Yes, there is a premium on the 10, but the capital risk for the upfront cost of what they would cost is not how I like to operate. I like to buy cheaper things. If a PC ETB promo in 2 years when we're at the bottom of the summer slowdown comes out and it's $10, like that's when I would consider it. But I don't typically like to buy things that come out expensive and then, which might be a wrong thing, but then stay expensive. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the scalability. I think that like in the past, I have severely underestimated the power of like a stamp. But one of the things I had like really heavy conviction on was those surprise boxes. And everybody on the Off Center podcast took me to the slaughterhouse and said it was a stupid play. The promo sucked, all that sort of stuff. That's been the best performing prismatic product by far out of like the ETBs, the booster bundles, the packs. Like that has outperformed the SBCs, like literally everything. And so I think I don't care for the promos. Like I don't think that those are the best evolution arts by any stretch of the imagination. But they got a stamp. It's evolutions with a stamp. Like literally turn your brain off. And so I think, you know, like sometimes the differentials may not make sense. Like if the regular promo is like $2 and the PC ETB promo is like $200, like maybe the regular version is undervalued. But I think if like the spread is like not that big, that it probably does make sense if you have like more of a long-term time horizon to buy the stamp, because stamp stuff just outperforms. It is what it is. And even if there's multiple arts, like there's been so many Japanese promos, like actually of this one, there we go. This has a stamped version, and the stamped version is dummy expensive. And there's like, yeah, exactly. Like that. So the non-hollow version is in Best of XY. I have like the reverse hollow version that came from Premium Champion Pack. I think there's like probably one or two other versions of that art, but the stamped one is the most expensive one. So even with like 4 options for that card, like the stamped one still holds serious value. So it seems goofy, but like the stamp just provides like some sort of exclusivity or whatever. And that's why I was like bullish on the surprise boxes, because I was like, it's all 9 evolutions. It's got a prismatic stamp. Like it's probably going to do fairly well. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I would say on that.
I thought that because I had said to you as well, I didn't like that play. I thought that was stupid until they were then offered at a cheap enough price in a high enough quantity that it flipped my mind. I was like, okay, now it makes sense. Like, I think being liquid and being able to change your mind is also being able to mold to how the market is and when opportunities come up is really important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. Like, and again, like, I'm not saying this like, oh, I'm a genius, like whatever. Like, I could have gotten absolutely wrecked, and I would have been like, oh, dude, I'm a dingus. I like hearing pushback. Like that's why I asked. Like I asked for 2 weeks straight, like because I wanted to hear Thrifty and Mason and Squeaks and John's opinion. Like I genuinely wanted to hear it, not so I could like take a victory lap, but like I was interested in it. I was like, you know, does my thesis sort of like hold water here? And obviously like nobody knows until it happens or whatever, but and that's not traditionally like the kind of thing that I would have done, because like I don't like ancillary product. Like I do want to stick to just like booster bundles, ETBs, booster boxes, all that kind of stuff. But that, and at the time I was bullish on it, there was zero premium, like zero seal premium at all. Like the promos were valued at $5 and then the packs were like market value. There was zero seal premium. So I was like, you know, and it seemed like a weird skew. Is like, are they going to print a bunch? And we've seen they print.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, like, but they print like way more or continual printing of like ETBs and even the SBCs and stuff like that. Whereas like, I don't think that they're still printing surprise boxes. So yeah, anyways, I don't accept like credit card directly, but if you pay through PayPal or Wise or whatever, like you can use a credit card.
Yeah, I think it's a good one to end it on, because I think it's like back to like the opportunity. If you sat on Fanatics and you typed in CGC 10 Pokemon and you bought, you know, with a bit of experience, you bought every single item in that one auction block and either then ran them on your stream, sent them to James, sent them to somewhere else, like you could make $100,000 a year with almost zero work. So like there is such an arbitrage opportunity, and it's because like the platform is setting people up to grade cheap. I'd still call it a niche platform, but yeah, there's a massive. A lot of what I source is from Fanatics. I know I'm buying retros cards every week. Like I buy 10 Celebrations Blastoise and Pikachus and all these things, and I'm like, yeah, like it's just everyone wins down there. Everyone wins. Like, yeah. I'm not using PSA right now, but So yeah.
To the second part, like, is there any reason to auction them through Fanatics? Like, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on like what cards. Like, generally in my experience, like sauce is not great for Fanatics. Like illustration rares don't really do great. Special illustration, like that kind of stuff. I would probably not be sending to Fanatics. I think it's really good as a buyer if you're looking for that kind of stuff on there, especially like niche stuff. Like you can catch some like pretty good deals on like stuff that people aren't really looking for. But the reason to send there is because, like, again, back, like, why would you pay somebody $1 to pre-grade your cards? Because zero interaction with the widget, it frees up your time. Are you still making money? Yes. Then like, why not do it? You know what I mean? Fanatics is like a great service. I don't like talking about it a lot because it's been the greatest service for like over a year now, and I feel like at some point it's got to get blown up. The fact that it hasn't already is insane to me. But yeah, if you're not like, if you don't really send that kind of stuff, and you have like nicer cards, like I definitely wouldn't be sending those to Fanatics because you are going to get more on eBay. But as a buyer, like you can clean up on that kind of stuff. Like you could literally, like, you could probably just buy the last 5 sets, illustration rares, special illustration rares, turn around, sell that stuff on eBay, and make like crazy money.
And the good, I guess I think Fanatics is better as a buyer. If you're looking for that, if you're looking to source, Fanatics is great as a buyer. But then again, if you're looking to churn at really low margins and seller, it's perfect. It's just a good, I don't know, there's opportunities on both sides with that platform. And I would capitalize on both. Yeah.
Plus, like on like sub $100 cards, I think makes sense too, because like shipping's expensive now. You know what I mean? Like depending on like where I ship in the US, it's almost like $7 a slab. You know what I mean? And that's just for the label, plus like, you know, packing materials and all that sort of stuff. So to me, if you're selling cards below $100 and you don't have to pay shipping, I mean, that's 5%, right? And then you get $50 below, like that's 10%. So like that's a significant amount of the item price that you're saving and like not paying shipping and stuff like that. I also tend to, I feel like pristines hold like a pretty good premium too, like on Fanatics, like CGC 10 pristines, like you can get pretty good. But as a buyer, like if you're buying the right stuff, you can probably buy pristines that are selling for stupid prices above PSA 10s on eBay that you could buy on Fanatics for like $150, and maybe like low list is $249.99, and you just cake up. Like, but again, it's like it's some of the money all the time versus all of the money some of the time. Like like I want some of the money all the time. Like all the time I want to be making money. I don't need every single last dollar. And if somebody else makes money off of me, like great. Like there's slabs that I've sold before that people have turned around and listed on eBay and made money on, and like I don't, you know, it is what it is. Like it's okay for everybody to win. So yeah, this was a barn burner. This was a long one. Any last like minute thoughts? Anything you wanna shill or get out there, or anything like that before we wrap it up?
Nah, just get your bathing suit out of the cupboard because it's summer, baby. There's not going to be anything to do inside.
It's like what, like 25 degrees where you are, though?
Oh, it's like 8. Oh, I don't know what Celsius Fahrenheit is, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's been pretty nice. It's pissing down rain today. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out for over 2 hours now. As I said, like there's probably enough to talk about at the moment that we could do this weekly. We'll see how we go. If there's any opportunity left anywhere, we'll squeeze in a weekly every now and then.
We didn't even talk about like any of the. I mean, if we started talking about like actual news, like drama and stuff like that, we definitely could do a weekly for sure. But I think we're right now at least trying to focus on like business stuff and provide value and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, I'm here for whatever people want, whatever gets us a viewership. But all of Kai's links too are in the description as always. Yeah, appreciate you guys being here. And if you ever have any like questions or topics you want us to talk about, like shoot one of us a DM on Instagram and we'll add it to our list of topics to touch on. So yeah, man, I appreciate everybody being here. This is fun to do. So everybody have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you guys again maybe next week, if not in 2 weeks. So adios.
Peace.